Today we are going to talk about Turkish great livestock protection breeds, and there's one country that has 5 enormously strong and big livestock protection breeds. First start with the one that most people don't know. This is the Karadani mountain dog. This is a dog that's different to all the others with an extremely thick coat and very strong build as well, without being too much of a mastiff type. So you get a dog with resemblance of a Central Asian Ovcharka in big parts. Then you have a dog that's far closer to a mastiff type, the most mastiff and most molosser type of dog with saggy lips and also extremely big bone structure. This is the Malakli. This dog is different to all the other breeds except the Bos Shepherd, also that it has a short coat, a very short coat. This is a real strong dog type, especially very strong for its size. Not the strongest, and it will tell you a lot. The strongest is then the Bos Shepherd. Also shorter hair, a little bit longer than the Malakli, but not as massive in build, but it is extremely massive in size. It's one of the biggest dogs in the world, and if you look at the size, the average size of the specimens, they might be the biggest dogs there are, so even bigger than Great Dane and Irish Wolfhound. And all these breeds are of course livestock protection breeds, but this is a dog that can even dwarf an extremely big wild canine, such as the how to say this, Alaskan wolf. The Bos Shepherd is also different to, for example, the most known, the Congo. This is the most known Turkish breed. This is already a very big, massive dog, but has longer hair and also slightly different build. And it's a lot smaller. But even the Kango is very capable of dealing with wolves, you might say. So how can it that the Bos Shepherd dwarfs them and the Kango doesn't? The Kango dwarfs local Turkish wolves perhaps, but those local Turkish wolves are a lot smaller than those wolves found in Alaska. That's the reason. So an Alaskan wolf can weigh up to 60 kilograms, whereas the Turkish wolves I think would be on average between 30 and 40. So it's almost half the weight, and it also has an effect on the size, of course. But the Kango is very known and brings you the benefits of a massive type of weight in a more of a shepherd type of body, so less massive and very good and agile. There's also the last breed, the 5th breed, which is the Akbash, which looks a lot like the Kango, but this Akbash means whitehead. You could see it a little bit like a subspecies, but they are different altogether. And FCE registration, I think they were both registered as one breed, also known as Anatolian Shepherd. But this, according to Turkish shepherds, is wrong. So now we had one country and 5 livestock protection breeds. How can this be? All those breeds appeal to different needs, especially the Aquas and the Kango are a lot alike, but all those others are vastly different as well. And the livestock protection breeds can be seen as a land race. So what that means is, depending on the land they were used on and the specifics that come with it, they've developed a certain little bit different type. So also, for example, the Ovsjarka that I mentioned is very close to some of the Turkish breeds, and whereas, for example, the Alabai would also be close to some others. If you, for example, would cross Akbas and Malakli type of Turkish breed, you would be close to an Alabai. It's not the same. I'm not saying that it is the same, but that's the reason. The dog here on the leash is my Patterdale terrier, not a livestock protection breed in that sense of the word. It is used to protect livestock, especially poultry and sheep, lambs, against foxes and badgers by going into the foxes and badgers dens, or fells as they call them. Therefore they're also known as fel terrier. And the fel is like a rocky den, and deal with the predator there. Have a great day. Goed zo, jongen. Huh? Hey. Zachtjes, zachtjes. Just nipped me a little bit on the finger because his tooth slid off the ball. Try to give you a good view of him in this beautiful light. So I try to hit the sun here again for you, so you see it shine. Gorgeous little fella. So it's now 1 year, 9 months, and oftentimes dogs mature up to 2 years, sometimes even further, but smaller dogs mature earlier, and he was already quite ready after 1 year. Of course you can have some minor changes, but that's about as good as it gets. Nice body, agile. The funny thing is with Patterdales, contrary to many other dog breeds, the females are often more bulky for their size. So the males have longer legs in general, and also less flikken. Then he picks it up, and less massive chest as compared to their size. Of course the male is bigger and stronger, but for their size those females are quite massive, and I think it has to do something because they are smaller. You still want to have maximum presence when you enter them there in the fox dens or badger dens. So even the females need to be very powerful. It's a funny thing. I hope other people also have found this out. Nice, easy going, huh? Nice, easy going. Nice walk. Yes, Mikey.
nice and shiny. Mark the territory. As you can see, it's really shining again. Once sunlight hits the coat, as you can see here, it's in the shadow. And then we go to the sunlight again. You just see it shine. Very nice. Very nice. So one more time. Hitting sunlight now. There it comes. Very nice. Hey jongen. I think he has sniffed something. Perhaps a bitch in heat. He's really marking his territorium now. Wel grappig, hè? Bijna dezelfde hoogte, maar zeker is het waar.
Kom, kijk. Nou, kijk dan.
Hoi hoi. Goedemorgen.
Mooi.
Zo.
Voilà. Kom, kijk aan zo, dus sajoed. Ja, dat zijn we voilà.
Hoi hoi. Kom maar. Yeah, nice. Nice musculature. I think he smelled something. Today we will discuss wash and wipe dog ownership. So what do I mean with this term? If you look at dogs, some dogs need quite a lot of work, others are almost carefree. And I'm referring to the latter. So for example, if you have a dog with a very nice fluffy coat, you also have to comb it a lot. And otherwise the coat will get entangled and also dirt will build up. Whereas if you have a dog with a smooth coat like this, you have no work. You do not even have to comb them and still they look like this. Like if you feed them well and exercise them well, they will just shine from health. And that's what I apply to. The same with humans. If you're a man, you can have very long hair, you can have a long beard, but it takes a lot of time to keep it in a good condition. Whereas if you keep it smooth and easy, it's just wash and wipe. And you're good to go. Also, if he has played in the dirt, this little guy, just take a towel and wipe them off once. And it takes off all the dirt, all the moist, everything. And that's an easy thing in life. Another thing, you could also do it a little bit more on the psychological level. If you have a dog that is demanding a lot of you, also in the way, of course every dog should needs exercise and also mental exercise, etc. But sometimes if you have a dog that's so far away from the normal things that you do that you have to make compromises a lot. And if so, this can be quite intrusive. For example, if you have a dog that barks for every sound that it hears, you will go and adapt to that, because you do not like this barking perhaps. I would not. But also, if it barks, you will think it cries wolf again. Whereas if you have a dog that only barks when there's really something there and can discriminate between the normal things of life, but also if something is really amiss, you have the benefits of a watchdog properties. You will not have all the trouble also with people around you that go nuts from all those barks. And that is something I really like. Also a dog that can be relaxed in house. For example, there are two elite working terriers at this moment. And in my opinion, that is the Patterdale Terrier and the German Yacht Terrier, also known as the German Hunting Terrier. But they have different characters. Patterdales are far nicer in house, whereas Yacht Terriers are almost they keep on being extremely active, almost neurotic in my opinion. Whereas a Patterdale Terrier can also have an off button, so to say, which I like a lot. So that's my philosophy about wash and wipe type of dog. I'm not promoting to wash your dog too much, only if needed. And sometimes it can be only once in so many months, or not, or never if it can swim. But you should wipe it, of course, so that it doesn't soil the environment, especially when it's has played in the mud. But just keep it easy and keep it simple and easy for you, also easy for the dog. That's my philosophy. And that doesn't mean that I do not have respect for dogs with a bigger coat, or that I cannot enjoy their beauty, because I can. But I like this a lot more practical, and also very nice bonus that you can see the musculature very nicely. As you can also see here with Estacado now, 1 year 9 months. Have a great day. In this video I will show you an update about DSL Estacado. It's now 1.5 years old. I think you can now see him walking and pulling the leash. He's always like this. It's also very good for its conditioning. I will switch it up. Most often he's on the leash, but also in the harness. It's better. That's not only that all the forces will be on his neck, but you can divide it a little bit more. Spiky! Oh, he smells a bit, I think. See? Marking the territory. Spiky! So I hope this is a nice small update to show you how he's maturing. Have a great day. In this video we will discuss the Banter Bulldog. And where does this dog sit? This dog sits between the modern day boxer and the ancestor thereof, known as the Brabanter Bullenbeißer. So this is like a Dutch
because Brabant is a part of the Netherlands, German type of Mastiff, or Bulldog in my opinion. It's more of a Bulldog. Bullenbeißer means in German the dog that bites the bull. So this would more be a Dutch-German Bulldog. That being said, this dog is now extinct. It is one of the ancestors of the show dog that we now know as the boxer, and that's a boxer population completely assimilated the left, those left of the Bullenbeißer, Brabanter Bullenbeißer. Next to the Brabanter Bullenbeißer, they also used especially English Bulldog blood, and most dominantly English Bulldog blood of show stock to further flatten the nose. And the English Bulldog blood of show stock, it's in a later phase was used to refine the dog that we know now as the boxer. Has a flattened nose because of puck influences, which is just a show toy breed. So there's no functionality. This also means that the boxers with this flat nose have lost a lot of functionality, albeit being a nice athletic frame that they have, and also a nice character, which is all good, but the functionality has been lost to a great degree, and that's what they try to restore by creating the Banter Bulldog. So Bulldog is also referring to the English term for Bullenbeißer, the German term, and Banter is a part of the Brabanter part in this breed, and it was dog known in the Dutch regions, and so the Dutch region of Brabant, and those dogs were used also in Germany, and they were referred to where they came from, being Brabant, as the Brabanter Bullenbeißer. So the Banter Bulldog is a recreation to some degree, but they still started with one of the show dogs that we know known as the boxer. So still they have some of the drawbacks of show blood infusion, and then they revigorate this with a very good breed, a breed that is the direct descendant of the English Bulldog when it was still a performance blood sport gladiator, which is the American Pit Bull Terrier. So those two breeds are used to create a breed that we now know as the Banter Bulldog. And this is a great increase in health, performance possibilities, and also a great contender at weight pool at events, for example. As such, still not beating the American Pit Bull Terrier, which is for its weight a top contender in almost all sports it participates in, but a lot better than a regular boxer would do. It's a nice project, but for me it only has value as a sentimental recreation, whereas the Banter Bulldog has descendants of the Brabanter Bullenbeißer, performance bred dog, and the English blood sport Bulldog running through its veins. It still will be subpar to a pure performance type of dog, such as the American Pit Bull Terrier. So all the good parts come from American Pit Bull Terrier blood, it might have a nicer view if you want something like that. But there were already breeds closer to the original Banter Bulldog in his performance. If you would look at Scott type American Bulldogs, for example, you could come very close to the looks and also the function of the Banter Bulldog without the infusion of show breed blood to show English Bulldog, which carries puck blood. And that's the part I don't like. That being said, it's far better than the original boxer as a show dog, and would be a joy to have. Boxers have a nice temperament, but they're quite plagued with diseases, especially heart, epilepsy, but also cancer. And infusing a performance breed will greatly revigorate those detrimental traits. So I'm not against the breed, but I think it could do a lot better. Hope you like this video. Have a great day. The dog on the leash here is a very small dog. Also carries Bull and Terrier blood. It is known as the Patterdale Terrier, also known as the Black Fell Terrier or the Black Dogs. And this is a Smoothcoat variety, and also carries some of the original Bulldog blood through its veins, by means especially of the Northumberland Terrier. Have a great day.
In this video we will address the topic, is there also gameness in the animal kingdom, so in the wild animals? And the short answer is yes, but they are hard to find and not many are that. And why is this? Because in nature normally animals are there to survive, and if they don't survive because they have gameness and they want to go on even against opposition that is much stronger, so even if needed to the death, they won't be living long enough to reproduce their genes maximally. So that being said, let's look at some examples. We will talk at least about lions. We will talk about Martin's family, but we also talk about some of the civet cat family. So first start with lions. In the animal kingdom, the male lions are those that have that gameness attribute. And why? The female lions are the best hunters. So how come that those male lions are those that have the gameness trait, whereas the lioness are the hunters, the male lions are the protectors? So especially if other male lions come and try to take over this group of lions, and oftentimes they also kill the lion whelps, because they don't want to raise other male lions with genes but their own, and that's a big problem for that group. You will be wasting genetic diversity. And those male lions, once they get challenged by another male lion, they will fight, even if that would mean that they would die. And sometimes they even face off with two upcoming male lions that will battle that one lion together. And after that, either be a two male lion group, or one will attack the other again, so only one will remain. Depends a little bit how the situation unfolds. Well, that's an interesting fact. Other very game animals must be the family of martens. Martens, even if you get pet martens like ferrets, they will happily engage with a cat 4 times its weight, which is also a very good predator, or a dog even 10 times its weight is very often the case, but sometimes even attacking herders like Dutch Shepherds, Malinois. And of course, it would be very easy for such a big dog, or any bigger dog, to kill a ferret if they are themselves still very capable. But oftentimes those household pets are already bred to have such a lack of courage that they will have a hard time with a ferret. But so a ferret is a domesticated polecat, and also polecats are known to fight cats, sometimes even venomous snakes, such as how do we say that? I think viper is the best way to describe them. We have European viper, for example, and a similar case could be made for an entirely different family, being that of the civet cats, where they have the mongooses fighting with big venomous snakes and also killing them. But sometimes also those snakes kill them. So it's a very interesting thing. But let's stay with the martens family. Other very game martens are, for example, the wolverine that even chases away wolves or bears, or even polar bears from their own prey. And it's such a compact gladiator. Other examples are river otters or other otters that even fight and kill small crocodiles, caimans, or also snakes, even small anacondas have been killed by them. Other examples are the meager weasel, who can be like 50 to 100 grams and killing rabbits more than 20 times its weight. And yeah, a rabbit is still just a prey, but they will also engage very hard with each other. They will engage rats, and rats are quite capable of killing animals, including their own. For the size, they are quite big, and they will engage a bigger rat and kill it. They are really good, feisty little buggers. And you have a little bit bigger, the ermine, similar traits. Polecats already mentioned, but also there are some martens that are less likely to fight, including tree marten and stone marten, but also you have the fisher marten in the United States, like a smaller wolverine, also very interesting to see. Then we had the civet cats. I already mentioned the mongooses, but also the genet cats, which is a different trait. And fossas are known to be ferocious little fighters. Another example could be made for, and I didn't address yet, there's another very big cat that is really going, against a very stiff competition, and that could be either the snow leopard, that you will even face off with 4 livestock protection breeds, for example Tibetan Mastiffs, and also the jaguar, which is able to kill anaconda but also crocodile types. But both the snow leopards and also the jaguar are very fierce and also solo fighting big cats, and also sometimes Siberian tigers or Bengal tigers face off with very strong prey, even bears. So also very strong, and also a bear can win from a tiger, of course, but this is not the type of gameness I was referring to. Another example of the marten family would be the badgers, badgers are known for many a dog as the ultimate test. Some say that the otter is even a better test, but they are almost extinct everywhere in Europe. But very ferocious, will not back down. But there's an even more ferocious badger. I'm not talking about the American badger, which is a lot more aggressive than the European one, but a lot smaller as well. So therefore the European is often considered as a bigger prey, but also the American marten. The American badger is a very formidable quarry, but there are other examples, especially the honey badger of Africa, which faces off on a regular basis with a very big, strong competition, including lions, panthers, even hyenas and the like. And they also face off with cobras and other very deadly material. They just very able to withstand them, but also they have a don't care attitude. They will just face anything, a little bit like the Wolverine. But the badger has a better skin and extremely sharp long claws, also able to dig. They also face off with bee stings, who just don't seem to bother them much. To crack open an entire beehive. They are an awesome creature altogether. Well, I hope you like this. I hope you like this video, and I'll give you also a little bit more of insight that gameness can be a trait also found in nature. And why could be a big question. In case of lions it would be easier to explain. If that lion loses his pride, then he will be in big trouble, because he's already old, and it would be very unlikely that he would be overthrowing another male lion from its pride. So he has to hunt for himself and often die. Whereas the honey badger is just such a formidable warrior, and he tends to be surviving also the Wolverine. Many of other big creatures will just move away when they see the Wolverine, because they already know how much of a warrior they are. Same with honey badger, but it's quite hard to understand why they pick such a formidable quarry. Perhaps because others don't, and they just fill the niche, but it's interesting to conceptualize a little bit more. In an earlier video we discussed gameness in nature, and we gave examples of creatures that can also be game in nature. So gameness is the ability and the willingness to go on even if odds are stacked against you. An example would be the honey badger that will face off with a leopard or a big baboon or a lion. And other examples are male lions that defend their pride against other male lions, even till the death. And multiple examples were mentioned, including also Wolverine and, for example, mongooses, or mongooses, so to speak, fighting with king cobras, etc. But that being said, we didn't include canine members in this overview. So canine members like, for example, the fox, or the wolf, or jackal, or coyotes, etc. And that is there's a reason for that, because canines are very brave and also able to take down big quarries, but they work very often in a group. And for example, solo hunting canines such as foxes oftentimes don't take down a big quarry. And then you might say, yeah, I know a fox that has killed a lamb, or killed a baby deer, or killed a baby hawk. Yeah, sure, and they do that. And that's still a big prey for a fox. But the same size, this Patterdale terrier would face off even with an adult hawk. Not win, mind you, but it's a different kind of bravery. So how come that in nature, where they have to fight to survive and also have a very harsh life, this Gameness is not found in the canine family, whereas captivity, domestication, so you will, some members of the canine family are one of the gamest animals there are, and especially those that were bred for the gladiator roles, being in the earth. The terrier is working formidable quarry like a badger, sometimes above ground against the hawk that I mentioned, but especially those bred for the pit. There were dogs that would go on and continue against other dogs even if they were ripped to pieces, and still be friendly to the handlers, but also dogs that would face off with lions, and everything they threw at them. That's an interesting fact, because that gives you also insight at what I mentioned earlier, that I think the Bull and Terrier breeds are the most developed dog breeds there are, because they are so much developed outside the scope of the natural scope that a wolf, a natural canine, has. So if you're interested in this topic, I also have the literature studied about those extreme activities that they had. So especially against the bull, but also against the bear baiting, and against each other, of course. Those gladiator type Bull and Terriers. The modern version of that would be the American Pit Bull Terrier, or the Bull and Terriers of the past. But they also fought lions. I have a video about that. You can find that if you want to. It's called lion baiting. It's on my channel. So please sit back and enjoy if you want to. And see you the next time. Bye bye.
Zie je wat je doen kan?
Ja,
Moet je een napje hebben?
er ligt ook een citroen onder.
Ja, die had ik nu.
Oh, dat is een namaakcitroen.
Het kan ook zijn dat die citroen wil hebben als balletje. Daar is hij ook gek op.
Daar is niet.
Nee, dat kan.
Ja.
Dat is niet om te eten. Dat is geen balletje. Kijk.
Nee, die
Die
kun je eten.
Ja, die ligt op de schrift.
Die zijn keihard.
Nee, is geen balletje. Is geen balletje. Ja, dat is het.
Hoe is het mogelijk, hè?
Dat is het. Is geen balletje.
Lekker lampje.
Nou zeg. Moet je die
Met
staan,
citroen
hoor.
boven. Het gele ding.
Nou, dat was het, een balletje. Ik ben blij dat dat een balletje is.
Zachtjes,
Ik niet, hoor.
Piano spelen, Spijkie.
Spijkie.
Dan zingen.
Ja.
Hé jongen.
Ach ja.
Dat is
Dan
mooi.
komt hij jou vragen. Dan komt hij jou vragen.
Dat is mooi.